In your '92 autobiography, Exposing Myself, you said you slept with 1,000 women.
Oh, those are good years.
You know, walk me through the mechanics of that, by the way.
Sleeping with 1,000 women?
Like time management perspective.
I forgot I had said that. I thought that was Will Chamberlain. Or maybe he said 10,000. You know, I got famous at an early age. So now I'm famous at 26. And going from being a skinny, pimply-faced, you know, marginal high school athlete, now I'm suddenly king of the world and I got all this money. And it's really pretty easy pickings when you're in that kind of situation.
But what does that mean?
It's not particularly my magnetism or anything. It's more, you know, what I
come on,
represent.
people's most beautiful man alive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But I'm serious. The mechanic. I mean, were you going out to bars? Were you going out to clubs? Is that where you're meeting women? Was it?
Well, you need advice on this area?
I'm fascinated. Take me back to those wonderful times of Geraldo.
It's almost like being in those days. Now you have to flash back to the 70s and 80s. What you're talking about here. The biography is 92 is the paperback, so I really wrote it in 90. So it was mostly
so the numbers
a trip down memory lane.
So the numbers are higher. You're saying.
Yeah, right, that too. But it's you have groupies basically. You have you know, in those, you know, I want to be careful with my tense, but it was, you know, constantly surrounded by temptation that was instantly fulfillable and no rules. I mean, all of the workplace
but this is the
protections
same
you have now, they're all gone. I mean, in those days, they didn't exist. Now, if you look at an intern with cross eyes, you go to jail. I mean, you get fired. Office affairs are monitored. There was none of that. It was really a much more...
also the time, Geraldo, of
it was
STDs
like the
and
SNL
HIV,
after party. It was the SNL after party every day, basically.
70s, 80s. So this is also the time of STDs, of HIV, of these kind of things. That ever scare you?
You know why they didn't? Because AIDS didn't exist in the 70s. I mean, it really, even when it existed, no one knew what it was, and unless you were a gay American or a gay person, the odds are you wouldn't get it. So it was almost like sex was free. You have no HR, no human resources, no workplace rules against it, lots of money, relative youthfulness, a young staff surrounded by sycophants and enablers. You know, it's very easy. People smoking joints openly in their office. You open the window maybe if you're being respectful, but it was people who were doing cocaine everywhere. I personally didn't get into cocaine. I was so.
Did you ever get into drugs of any kind?
Weed. I was on the board of the National Association for the Reform of Marijuana Laws in '72, along with Senior Senator Jacob Javits here in New York. But we were prophets, it turns out, because everything we said in '72 is coming true in 2014. It
wasn't just groupies, by the way. Bette Midler, Liza Minnelli, Chris Everett.
What?
What? Bette Midler didn't have some nice things to say about you, by the way.
Well, you know.
Said you were nothing to write home about. You want to tell me how she was?
I swore after the reaction she had to the book that I would never again speak of her in those terms. But I will say that she was a fantastic entertainer, still is, and her longevity is also evidence of the substance that she brings to the table.